Welcome everyone to Politically High Tech with your host Elias Martin. I have a new guest here. And this is going to be a very interesting conversation. This is not for the weak-minded. That's what I'm going to tell you. This is not for the sheep. And look, I know my listeners. I know you're great. You're great listeners, and some of you even challenge me, which I like because I don't like echo chambers. Echo chambers are boring. They're for the weak, and both religious, atheists, left and right. You love your echo chambers because you love to please the idiots that just say yes to anything, even jumping over the cliff. No, not here. This is not a safe space, and I'm happy not to be a safe space for you elder babies. Yep. For those of you, if you love your little space, I'm gonna call you elder babies. I could that could be much worse, but we'll get there. I have a very interesting guest here. We're gonna learn, is he a heathen? Does he hate everything religious and everything spiritual? Or there's something nuanced? There's something to think
Yes.
about. Regardless of your bias or your preconceived thinking, we are going to find out.
Hmm.
We're gonna find out for sure. So let me just give you a little introduction about this guest. Ironically, his name is John Bliss, so he's probably happy to troll you. Probably. That's just an accusation, by the way. I can't prove that. He's a writer and a thinker, passionate about unraveling the mystery of our lives. Some people may call that being crazy. Okay, but I like crazy. Crazy is interesting. He is at heart a skeptic and an individualist. Oh, so he hates conformity. Oh, a lot of people don't like that, especially authoritarians. He distrusts groups and authorities of all kinds. I mean, a real American should. As it is that clear that humanity, even the brightest minds, is susceptible to deep folly. Yeah, unfortunately, if you don't have an ego, you could agree with that. But if you do, you think you're beyond that. To help people break free from the hidden social biases and tackle life's big questions. Who the heck are we? What's truly important? And how should we live our lives? Is organized religion or any other religion or any other belief is the right way? Or something deeper, much deeper than that? Maybe something universal? Well, regardless, we're going to find out. Let's welcome John Bliss. And I always ask this corny question, the corniest one of them all. What do you
Hmm.
want the viewers and listeners to know about you?
Oh, God, that's an awful question. Just another dude. Sorry, I'm a dude, but I wrote a book. That's it. I'm sorry, that's all I got.
Yep, I know that was gonna be the lamest question, but that's how I always start. But now it's gonna get interesting from here. That I could promise you. At least the second one starts things off really. So that might be the reward for the shortest, most plainest intro in this podcast history. So there you go. There's a medal
Well,
on that.
yeah, I guess I've listened to a bunch of other podcasts, and people are pretty interesting when you listen to them, all the things they've done and all that stuff. Okay, let me redo it. I'll redo it. Who am I? I was always an odd duck when I was in high school and college, and really, all I really cared about is what's most important. What's most important, and I'd ask people, and that kind of relegated me to the absolute minority or to the outside of any group. I was just a weirdo. That's all. It's just a weird dude. And I just always felt like you have to put fundamentals first. You have to know what's most important. If you know what's most important, then you can make a plan. Well, first, no, then you can make a goal. And once you have a goal, then you can make a plan. This is how I'm going to live. This is what I'm going to spend all my time doing because I know what's most important. Because I know, yeah. But most folks, they don't really know. And so they're just kind of following this conformity thing. It's like when I was in college, I remember looking around and seeing, well, what's going on? All the kids are like, they're good students. They're going to get good jobs. They're going to get married. They're going to have children. They're going to get a mortgage and they'll retire and then they're going to die. That's it. And when I looked at the generation before me, my parents' generation, they were doing that trick, that whole plan. And I didn't think they were happy. So it made me think, you know what? This probably isn't right. I don't think they've got it right. That's not how I'm going to do it. I want to do it right. So that's who I am. A guy who is basically interested in the fundamentals of what's really most important. I want to know. And that's driven me for years. I ended up conforming to society after a while. I was an artist, I guess you could say an artist fuck up for quite a while. I did a lot of painting, I played music and read books, and I realized that I saw some dude. I was in San Francisco. I saw some dude who was older than me, maybe 20 years older, and he looked really poor. And I thought, you know what? That's what I'm going to be if I keep doing this. And I realized I needed to kind of get on the bus and join the system. And I did. I did really well. I started a business, had 20, 25 people working for me. I sold it, did good. And now I'm back to being a dude again. But during all that time, I was writing this book. It took me 13 years to write and took a whole year to edit it. That was crazy. My editor read it 3 times and I rewrote it 3 times. There. That's your introduction. How's that?
Definitely a much better one and interesting. And actually interesting. Yeah, no, this podcast we allow the bragging. Some of them frown upon us. I said, shut up. This is this audio visual. This is audio visual entertainment for some people. Okay, just people just want to be entertained. And I don't know.
Mm.
I'm more of a pragmatic person. The morality thing, it constrains me too much. But that's my little opinion. It's not going to be about me speaking about morality and all that, even though it might be included in this conversation. Just saying, might be included, but I'm not going to make that promise. So that's actually a very good introduction. See, I know you had more interesting things. That's why I left some of the things out of the intro. I know you had more interesting things than that. So, alrighty, let's have a. So, next question is, and this is, I always had the skepticism, even though I learned sadly to conform much earlier. But now it looks like I'm just dabbling between the two. Half conform, and
Mhm.
I'm just embracing my unhinged oddity. That's where I'm at in my journey. Will it work out? Probably not, but we'll see. So,
I might. You have to conform to make money. You have to. Not everyone, but most of us have to.
yeah, no, you're right. You're
It
right because only the very few could be yeah,
That's right.
theme, painter, singer, performer. You're right. You're right about that. I'm definitely not gonna
Yep.
argue with you on that unless I'm on good drugs. So yeah, no, I'm sober, unfortunately. So you wanna see me rant, be drunk, that's gonna be the paid version. Once I start doing Unleash, trust me, that one's gonna be me being crazier. And yep, that one you're gonna have to pay some money if you want me to say crazy stuff that's even pretty cancelable. So yeah, I don't like both parties. You know where I stand in that audience, but I say one party's
Mm.
doing better than the other. Don't worry, it won't be too political. But organized religion can be pretty political. Now, the simple question I have is, and they still exist. I wish they didn't. Why organized religion really doesn't work for the betterment of humanity? I'm going to frame it like that.
I'm not gonna say I disagree with you. I think it does work for the betterment of humanity. Even if you look at Scandinavia, where they're pretty much non-Christian societies, but there's the lowest crime, the lowest murder rates and all of that stuff, and it's non-Christian, but why? Because they had Christianity for how many centuries that, taught people, "Look, don't kill people, don't steal their stuff, don't be sleeping with, your neighbor's wife, just don't break the damn rules." Because before that, they were a bunch of Vikings. What they do? They go out, they go kill people and steal all their stuff and rape the women. I mean, that's what they used to do. So, the Christianity has done quite a lot of good in the world, I think. I mean, yes, there's a lot of bad. You can talk about the Crusades or killing heretics and all kinds of stuff like that, sure. But I do think that that organized religion is a net positive. But what the point I was trying to make is it misses the point. It misses the point. And so I'm going to go back to something we were talking about pre-podcast, and that was a study or I guess it's a pamphlet that Maslow put out. So Abraham Maslow, he's most famous for that pyramid of needs. First, what do you need first? I guess water. Then you need food. Then you need shelter. Then you need a community. Then you need love. And then you need a vocation or something to live for. And then, so there's this pyramid of needs, and Maslow's the one that came up with that. But he also wrote a really nice pamphlet about religion, and he talked about two kinds of people. There are peakers and non-peakers. Peakers are people who have experienced God. They have these experiences where, oh boy, it's hard to describe. An experience where you feel indestructible. You feel this incredible sense of love for all people. It's like this gift from God that just comes to you and just inhabits you and it just changes you. It wrenches your life. And very few of us have those. Now, Maslow said that a lot of us, or maybe all of us could, but that if people do, they just say, no, I was just, something was wrong with me that day. And they just kind of deny it and pack it in the closet and pretend that never happened. But there are some of us who have them and just say, I want more. Because that was God. Now, some people, I guess, well, let me say it differently. Now, Maslow didn't say this. This is what I say, but that when you think of any human quality, there's a normal distribution or a bell-shaped distribution, right? So when you think about in terms of how tall people are, men, they're usually about 5'11", 6 foot, 6'1". That's most of us. And then you have one or two of them that's 7'5", and a few of them are like 2 foot tall or something. But it's a bell-shaped curve. And it's the same for intelligence. It's the same for, how fast we can run. But it's also the same for spiritual capacity, or at least that's how I see it. And most of us, of course, are in the middle. But there are some people that are at the very, high end or tail. And that would be someone like Jesus or Krishna or Buddha or something like that who, they touched God. Maybe Moses touched God and had these intense, visions or experiences and all. And religions came from that, And the problem, there's a couple problems. That is that most people are not peakers. Okay, but let me before we can get to that, the biggest problem is you can't explain a mystical experience. You can't put it into words. You just can't. It's like, yes, I tried. I said, look, I felt invincible. I felt God's love. I loved everyone. But that doesn't describe what I felt. It doesn't. And so you can't explain it, that it's an ineffable experience. That's one thing. But even if these guys could explain it, the guys around them, like Jesus' apostles, they're non-peakers. They're not peakers. They can't understand it. So it's like if you tried to explain to a blind man the difference between blue and purple, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? Didn't have a clue. Well, it's the same with this religious stuff. It's like, look, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't, gone over there and talked to God. I have no idea what you've experienced. I just have these words of yours and I interpret them differently than you're trying to express them. I don't get it. And that's what happened with the beginning of all religions. I mean, personally, I think, and I've read this, other people think this as well, that all these people who really touched God, the founders of all these religions, they all saw the same thing. They all felt the same thing. It's just their cultures and their time in history kind of shaped the way they saw it, And so they put it in a specific language with, certain customs, etc. And that's why our religions are different, because they were different people who all saw the different things. It's like, so Elias read several of the essays in my book. And at one point I wrote about Ramakrishna, and Ramakrishna was the saint who was a Hindu guy. He's actually a total madman, just totally nuts. Just if anyone saw him on the streets of any U.S. city, we would think that guy should be locked up. He's had too many psychological drugs or something like that. Something wrong with this guy. But he was an intense mystic, and he later went. He was a Hindu. He was a worshiper of Kali, and then he went and he tried Islam. He tried Catholicism, and he also had mystical experiences in these other religions. And he was the one who came up with that whole elephant analogy. You put a bunch of blind men in the same room with an elephant. And one guy's feeling the tusks, saying, it's hard and it's not pliable. It's just hard and smooth. And the other guy's feeling the tail and saying, no, it feels hairy and it's long. And, and they all have different descriptions of what this elephant is. That's kind of like us talking about God, that these different mystics have seen it from different perspectives, but they're all talking about the same thing. Okay, let's get back to the peakers and non-peakers thing. So here we have Christ who experienced God, tries to explain it to all these people around him. They don't get it. So what's he try to do? He starts telling all these stories about, I don't know. Gosh, I can't know. All of a sudden I can't think of any of his. Oh yeah, there's like the bridesmaids and their lamps, and some of them saved their oils and some didn't. And I don't know. He came up with all these stories to try to express these truths of his, and we don't get it. We don't get it. And there's all these different interpretations of what these stories mean. It's lost. It was lost. The magic was lost. And so that was the point that I was trying to make in the essay was, that, or one of the points was that the magic of really, touching God, it's kind of not so much in the religions. And at least for the Christian religion, you would think Christ would say, okay, this is how you do it. These are the steps. This is what you do. Okay. We need to do this, then we do this, then we do this, and then you could be like me and you could touch God too. You don't need to talk to me and my apostles. You can just do these things. Where is it? Never gave us that. And so what do we have? We have this religion that was made by non-peakers who are people in the middle of that bell curve. And it applies and works for people in the middle of the bell curve. But the people at the far end, the very spiritual people, it's lost. It's lost on them. Because so I have these 10 commandments, I have the 7 deadly sins. It's like, really? That's it? That's it? Oh yeah, Jesus turned the loaves into, or I don't know, he multiplied all these loaves and fishes and he turned the water into wine. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That's really neat. That doesn't do it. I'm sorry. That doesn't do it. Love your neighbor. Yes. That's all real true. That's real. That's the essence of all religion. Love. Yes. But it sounds so trite. It just don't do it. So that was the point I was trying to make. Go ahead. What do you got, Elias? Oh, I lost you. I can't hear you now. You're on mute.
Oh my god, what a rookie mistake. I've been doing this
Yeah, I
year.
know. You're the podcaster. Now, that's something I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, this just tells you I'm a flawed human being. So there you go. If you want to roast me, commenters, go right ahead. This is your great moment to do so. So, oh, what a
You're a
boomer.
rookie.
What a boomer.
A
He got it
rookie.
wrong.
Jeez, I don't know who booked me on this one. I shouldn't have done it. I didn't know I was going to be the rookie.
Well, that's what I get for doing too much stuff in 24 hours. Anyways. No, yeah, no, when I read that, that's the impression that I when I read that, that one I feel like I understood it the most. It's like, I think his main point is that the religious essence, understanding of it, experience is lost because, just like you said, the non-peakers just want to come up with the steps and the descriptions, and of course those who are, well, but to your point, that, oh yeah, oh, this is how Jesus does it. Yeah, it works, and it works in that great sense, right? You get a lot of the non-peakers who don't experience the mythical, great spiritual experience, just to get to the religious. So that's great on that, and many more people are non-peakers. That's, I think unless we
Most
meditate
of us,
more often,
by far.
and then until we stop getting distracted with all the phones, the lights, noise, and our busy, hectic lives, we would definitely get more peakers, I would say so.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was your point. Yeah, I know you're not bashing religion, it's kind of defaming you a little bit jokingly in the intro.
Oh, it's okay.
I was like, I gotta do it.
I could.
Huh?
I could. I could if you want. I'll bash religion for you.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Go right ahead. I'm a 1A kind of person, so it's not gonna offend me. I do. Listen, I'm not that super devout religious zealot that I'm just gonna come and beat you to death with a big old Bible and drown you in holy water for just saying such things.
I just dealt with that. I went on a canoe trip and I was reading this book by some pastor and I was so offended by it. This guy was saying, look, this is the whole basis of Lutheranism, but he's saying, look, all people are evil. We are evil. We're wicked people. It's just the way it is. And we all deserve to go to hell. That's the basic fundamental truth. And then based on that, oh, but Jesus in his grace can lead us to heaven. Okay. So that's the basis of Lutheranism and a lot of Protestantism. I don't think the Catholics talk that way. And so, but here's my questions. If God is so, let's say, so omnipotent, let's say powerful, could do anything, then why would he make flawed creatures? That sounds like incompetence, right? Or how about this? If God was so if God was so loving, then why would he make creatures that would fail and then therefore go to hell? Isn't that cruel? So then God is cruel, not loving, because he made us. He knew what was going to happen, right? Or did he not know? And then maybe he isn't all knowing. It's like there's all these things they say God is, but if he's all these things, then no, it's impossible. It's impossible. You saw that. That was in there. I mean, Voltaire did a really good job just ripping the church apart, but that was, yeah. So let's see. So either God is incompetent because he can't make good people, or he's cruel or no, he's stupid because he doesn't know that we're going to fail. And he put this apple in the garden, you know, what a dumb mistake putting this apple in the garden and saying, don't go eat it. It's like, okay, so he's either incompetent, stupid, or cruel, knowing we're going to do all those things. And then we'll take it even further. So then Jesus died for our sins so we can go to heaven, except for, we're all still going to hell. That's the Lutheran part we add on to it. It's like, oh my God, it just doesn't make it. Here's some more. So, in the first books of the Bible, they list, let's see, there's Adam's son was this guy and his son was this guy. And then there was Noah and his son it goes all the way down, all the way to Jesus, right? No, it doesn't. Because who was Jesus's father? It was not Joseph. Mary was pregnant when Joseph married her. Joseph was not his father. So that genealogy doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's so silly. But yeah, there's all kinds of things, I mean, you saw this in the book as well, how the Gospels, there's no mention of Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John until the late 2nd century. So so let's say Jesus died maybe in his 30s, right? But let's say his apostles, let's pretend they're the same age and they died at age 80. Then 80 years later, that's when their gospel shows up. 80 years after the last apostle died. How do I say that's why when the first gospel showed up? How would I know? Well, if you read all the readings or the writings of the early church fathers, like, Tertullian or Irenaeus or those other guys, there's no mention of those gospels until around, I don't know, it's 160 I think it's around 160 AD or 180 AD. So much later. There was mention of a lot of other gospels that existed before. A lot of gospels, they're gone. They've been destroyed by the church. But one was like the Gospel of Hebrews, which the original church, that's what they used, was the Gospel of the Hebrews. It's gone. So yeah, there's a lot that's suspect. But, basically, I think that Christianity is an incredible force for the good. I do. I think God is the most important thing we can reach for in our lives. Absolutely. But religion has been created, for the most part, by men. It has, purgatory. Where'd that come from? Purgatory is a whole reason. So the idea of purgatory is, look, according to the old fire brimstone Christianity, you and I have sinned a lot. We've done all sorts of things. We thought the wrong things. We were attracted to people we shouldn't have been attracted to. We even probably imagined what they looked like with no clothes on. I bet you did that at least once, Elias. I certainly have. And you know what? Those are sins. So we need to go. We can still go to heaven if we've accepted Jesus as our personal Lord and Savior. That's the line. But first we have to go to purgatory to burn off our sins. And that could be a long, long period. Well, that whole concept of purgatory, Jesus never said that. Jesus never said that. And that didn't show up till, I don't know, it was like at least a couple hundred years after Jesus died. I think it was, I don't remember, it's in the book, I forgot. Well, Augustine talked about it, a concept like purgatory, but didn't use that word, and that was in the 4th century, I believe. I think it was in the 400s. So I think it was like in the 600s that the word purgatory first showed up. It's like someone invented that. And then there's the idea of limbo, where what happens to babies that die before they're baptized? Do they get to go to heaven? No, they go to limbo. Who came up with that? Well, Jesus didn't say that. And then later on, just recently, I think the last 50 years, the popes said, "Oh yeah, limbo, that doesn't exist anymore." Even though we used to believe it existed for like 300 or 400 years. That's just the way it is. But Christianity is kick-ass. It is a force for good. I will definitely say that.
Well, you heard it here, even though I was twisting it purposely. Again, despite all the criticism and all that, so I think he believes, it's a net positive. Yeah, even though I look, I think it's better to have religion rather than none because I tried to live without it and it was a mess, just put it briefly.
Mm,
So, I would say my worst day believing and try to follow God as opposed to have my best days without him is, yeah, it's so much better. At least, I got some guidance, some structure, especially how to deal with
absolutely.
with, negative emotions, especially the ones that feel uncontrollable, like, you just I mean, one was the urge by, undressing the person visually in the mind. I mean, I've done that more than once. So,
Two times or three times? Two, maybe only
I
twice,
will
right?
I will probably say 5. So, there you go. Well, hey, I'm just being transparent and honest right there, but definitely 5. Yep, and well, that one commenters, you're gonna have to dig for that one, for those 5. You're probably never gonna find them because I was smart enough never to document them. So except for this time, that's your little quest right there, people, but thing is with all that, yeah, I think without religion, I think this is why some people go through the chaos, look, I believe in you choose whatever, right? You follow your path, whatever. But I think some believing the higher power is definitely I will say that's way better, even despite the flaws that I point out or I think about. I said, but you know what? It's better than not having it at all.
Well, there's something that I think people mix up. There's God
Mhm.
and there's religion. They're not the same.
Right.
God, or at least as I see it, God is. That's all there is to it. There's no arguing that. Religions, yeah, people kind of created them, and so they're different. And there's a lot of people they can poke at religion. They could talk about the history of all the bad things that the church has done, and they could say, "Yeah, I'm an atheist." Yeah, of course. It's like, what God would allow his church to do all these things, right? And I get that, but that's not no, I don't get that. That's a terrible argument. The conclusion should be the church isn't very good, but that has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with God.
Right, yet God gets blamed for it, both by the critics and the atheists. That's the thing I always point out. I said, no, but things that's not God. No, that's organized religion. I mean, I used to do the same
That's right.
thing when I used to be angry. I didn't understand it. I was like an angry, angsty teenager who just, I said, to hell with religion. Oh, I tried that. Not very good. Not very smart people. Don't do it. Just don't do it. It's okay to explore. It's okay to ask questions. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bad representative of Christianity and I'm sure in other religions, but don't let that deter you from God. Those are just foolish people. Sadly, some of them have a lot of influence, misplaced influence, but
Mm,
they do. Yeah, no, you're right, and that's one of the many mistakes I made, when I used to be, quote, unquote, "agnostic." I was just really mad at God for not saving my father. So if you're so great and powerful, you coulda just cured this
yeah,
cancer. So I had that same
right?
criticism, but after I read the Bible, and I read it completely twice, because there's
Mm,
so much propaganda, garbage, and deception by the man, not God, by man,
mhm.
that I had to read 'cause I used to even fall for them when I didn't have, the foundation and understanding. Once I read it twice, I said, "Okay." All right, I know that person saying is not true. And I also, this is another thing that now I'm about to go a little off the wall here. I think there is parts of the Bible missing.
You think?
Lots of them.
Well,
But yeah, go ahead.
uh,
I want to hear your insight.
no. Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's common knowledge, right? Was it 1948 they found, I think it's 48, they found the Nag Hammurabi library, a bunch of scrolls and geez, what was in there? I now I'm probably mixing it up. Maybe it was in the 50s they found it because there was 48 gospels they found. I don't know. They found a whole ton of gospels that weren't in the original, or in the accepted canon of books that we have. Sure, the church threw out a ton of books, and that's why we don't have the Gospel of the Hebrews anymore. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, but you know what? Those books are written by people too. And you know what's interesting is like the oldest writings we have is Saint Paul. That's the oldest, and Saint Paul never met Jesus. Saint Paul, let's see, how'd this work? He was a Gentile. He used to, killed Christians and stuff. He he had his conversion experience. He goes and meets with, I think it was James, the brother of Jesus, who was the head of the Church of Jerusalem at the time, and said, "Hey, can I go preach to the Romans? All these people aren't Jews." And they're like, "Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead." So he does. Him and Barnabas, they go out and they preach all over, and they create all these great Christian communities. They're very successful. They're great speakers. They did a great job. But Peter and Paul didn't believe the same thing. So Paul, or let's say Peter was a Jew and Jesus was a Jew. And they believed that, look, you follow the law, the Jewish law, and we kind of focus on the intent of the law, the whole love and God and me and stuff, rather than just doing all the formalism and just doing all the, we'll do the law, but really what was it about? And whereas these guys were like, fuck the law. We just want to, do Jesus' stories. And it was like, they weren't the same. And so we had these different Christian communities in the early days where they didn't get along. They didn't agree with each other because they were founded by different, apostles or different preachers. So yeah, it's pretty fascinating, the story of it. I'm sorry, go back to what you were saying.
No, this is your episode. I will have plenty of time to say what I have to say in other ones, especially my solo ones. But yeah, no, I was just, and I'm happy I actually read the Bible twice to make sure, and I even read, and I'm reading
That's pretty amazing.
different versions of it. Of course, I was raised Catholic, so that one has slightly more canon. It was pretty interesting. One was like very weird, but the one I'm reading now, and I want to make sure, and I don't care if it's a fraudulent one, that'll be a good example of one not to buy. I think Ethiopia Bible might have some of those scrolls in there. I'm not sure, but that I'm gonna research myself. So don't quote me on that one. And I like to quote me.
Yeah, I was just reading something, the Book of Enoch,
Yeah, that's one of
just
them.
today.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that church you're talking about, I don't know if it's Ethiopian or Coptic or whatever it was, but they've got like 80 gospels or some huge number, including that book, which they don't have anymore in the Protestant or Roman Catholic canons. But what's interesting, we have the epistle of, oh shoot, now I forgot that verse, Judith. The epistle of Judith, of Jude, I'm sorry, of Jude, which I didn't know about. I was raised Catholic also, which I didn't know about the epistle of Jude, which actually quotes, there's a big quote from the Gospel of Enoch. So, which is interesting. So it's like yeah. And so in the Gospel of Enoch, that's where they're talking about, look, I don't know anything about this stuff. It was a weird time. Jesus' time was weird. At that time, they were way into this apocalyptic literature, that the whole book of Revelations, which I think is garbage. I hate that book. But there was a lot of books like that back then in that era. There's just, people were kind of weird. And this book of Enoch talks about, that there was they were called the Watchers, and I think they were angels, and they came down and they had sex with the beautiful women, and their children were the Nephilim, whatever, which were, I guess, giants. I don't know. That's just what the book says, and I don't know what that stuff's about. I don't. I've tried to stay away from it because it's so far out there, but I am reading it. now.
Yeah, to my regrettable curiosity, I'm too curious, so I have to read it. So since I know there are things missing from the Bible for sure that, yeah, I'm gonna read it even if I might regret it. Oh, well. I'm too curious about fulfill, I guess. But I
Yeah.
rather know because now it's just, yeah, really? Really? The angels were that horny to make these filthy creatures? They took out women, these angels should be the Epstein files, there you go. There you go, let's spice things up a bit. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
No,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and supposedly they taught them the children, so the Nephilim, they taught them science and they taught them astronomy and magic and stuff like that. Taught them herb lore. Yeah, and God didn't like that, I guess. I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I think it was a weird time. I remember I don't remember who it was exactly. It was either Titus or Vespasian or one of those guys, or it might have been it's in the early Roman period. The Romans went in, to Jerusalem and they wanted to put their statue up, right, in the temple, and the Jews were like, "No, no, you can't do that. You can't do that." It's like, "No, we're gonna do it." And you know how Romans are. They're just gonna kill people and just do what they want, right? And so they said, "We're gonna kill you guys if you stand our way." So the Jews, they all, like, kneeled down and put their necks out like this. They're like, thousands of them just put their necks out like, "Go ahead, kill us." And the Romans backed off. It's like, "Oh, okay." These people were fanatics. It was a different time, a different people. Yeah. So, anyway.
yep, I tell you, I hope this episode gets you more curious listeners and viewers because and look, I agree. Look, anything written by someone, it's always gonna have an inherent bias, no matter how fair you try to be. Look, history is written by the winners, okay? So that's already a bias right there. What about the loser's perspective? How do they lose? Ah, no, that don't get recorded as much. Unless the winner wants to brag about, oh yeah, I beat them because they're a bunch of scrawny little whatevers. And they were so stupid with their strategy, we got them drunk and we ambushed them. Uh, so you'll learn about yeah, no, and that's inherently true. As whether you like it or not. Look, at Obama, man, boy, you can love Obama all you want, but it's very biased material. It's all about Obama. What if you wanna learn about the
Yeah,
other person that's part of Obama's life? Well, maybe you get that memoir or something or
I know. It's
find
like,
materials online
try
about that, but
try looking for a biography of FDR right now. You can't find a negative one. He had a lot of detractors back then. The Republicans hated FDR.
yeah.
You go on Amazon and look for FDR biographies, you will not find one that is anti-FDR. Doesn't exist. You won't find it. I was looking for one, couldn't find one.
Hmm. So much for freedom of speech.
I don't think the censors stopped it. I don't know what happened, but
I think they channel
yeah,
I think I'm gonna go off ahead. Maybe it's just tinfoil here, probably flirt with conspiracy theory territory. Maybe they secretly threaten the publishers to take it down or
I
something.
don't think so.
You don't think so?
Well, during COVID, they would have done that.
That's true,
Certainly
yeah.
during COVID, they definitely would have done that.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I mean, not for FDR, but if you're trying to publish a book against the shot or something, or about
Oh,
vaccines.
yeah, you're the enemy of the state.
Absolutely. So, did you read about Swedenborg in that book? What'd you think of that?
Swedenborg, I try to understand that one. Maybe I shouldn't have read it so late, but,
Don't worry about it.
yeah,
Let me go into it because I
yep,
think it might be interesting.
yep, yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
so around the time of Benjamin Franklin in Sweden, he's called Swedenborg, and he actually was in Sweden. There was a man who was like Benjamin Franklin. He was a polymath. He was a guy who was really good at a lot of things. He was famous for mathematics in Sweden and also for geology. He was really good at meteorology and geology and stuff like that. And yeah, he was very famous. And I think they wanted him to be a professor of a university, or no, the president of a university at one point, but he turned it down. Okay, well, this guy, he was very Christian. I don't think up in Scandinavia, I don't think they were Catholics, but he was very, very Christian. And he he tried to be good, but, you know, he was a man like anyone else. And he started having these, let's say, yeah, mystical experiences, but his were different than any that I've read anywhere else. No, there's one other guy that maybe, but I won't talk about that guy. But this guy, he left his body and he actually ventured beyond the veil. That means into the spiritual world and talked with spirits. Okay. And then he came back and he wrote about it. Well, he didn't do it once. He did it every night for like, I think it was like 40 years or something like that. Every night. And he wrote so many books about what he saw. And yeah, he influenced people like, well, for example, Johnny Appleseed. You know, he was out planting apple trees all over for the settlers who were coming out west. Johnny Appleseed was a Swedenborgian. He was a follower of Swedenborg, and he was passing out religious tracts. That was what he was really up to. Ellen Keller, she preached in a Swedenborgian church. It was called the Church of New Jerusalem. And he influenced quite a lot of let's say, very famous people. And actually, the New Age movement, a lot of what you hear in the New Age movement is all based in Swedenborg thinking. So let me give you a couple. So this guy, he just wrote books. He wasn't a good speaker. He didn't want to start a church. He didn't start a church. He never preached. That wasn't his deal. He just did his thing and then wrote books. And most of them, not most, but a lot were not even published until after he died. So he felt like every moment of the day, so that we're surrounded by, let's say, thousands of spirits, tens of thousands of spirits flying in the air all around us. And every moment of the day, there's a fight for our soul, a fight for our soul. He's believes in God. He's actually a Christian still, or he was still after all these experiences. And so we have these different types of spirits out there. There are angels, which are people who were good, who then died. And they're in the spirit, they're spirits now, and they're just flying around. And there's people who are nasty, who died, and they're imps, or let's say they're demons, or they're not as nice. But they're both trying to influence us every moment of the day. Every time you have this impulse to do something rash or stupid, like, you know, just kick his ass or just tell me he's an asshole, you know, that is something that's coming from a demon. And when you hear something saying, no, I know he said something bad, but just take a breath. He said it because he's feeling this. Just understand him and let it go. That is the voice of an angel. So every thought or emotion you have actually originates from elsewhere. You are just a receiver. And there's this fight for your soul to direct you, like to, you know, are you going to go to heaven or hell, which I'll talk about in a second. And these different spiritual entities are all trying to influence you and bring you along. So as Swedenborg saw it, or here's a simplification, I guess, and that is that, you know, we're like M&Ms in a way that there's chocolate in the middle and then there's candy on the outside. Okay. And so the chocolate in the middle is your essence of who you are. The candy on the outside is the mask that you wear. So you could be a really greedy, selfish, arrogant prick, but you're really good at acting very compassionate, loving, and considerate and kind. But you're not. You're just manipulating people, right? Or you could be a really loving, nice, gentle person, but you have a gruff exterior. And you see those in those TV shows. Every once in a while, there's a movie or something. They have some biker dude. He's really big and tough looking, but really he's just a teddy bear, right? He just loves kitty cats or whatever the hell. You know, there's people that have really beautiful centers and rough exteriors, people with ugly centers and beautiful exteriors. And then there's people that are ugly on the inside and the outside and beautiful on the inside and the outside. So there's 4 combinations, right? So when you die, it's the equivalent of having that M&M popped into your mouth. After like tens or hundreds of years, that candy shell starts to dissolve and who you are, your essence, starts to become the whole deal. And let's say you're a good person at heart and you're compassionate, you care about people, you will be attracted to other people who are that way. You won't be fooled anymore by those other folks because their candy shells are gone and you'll see that they're evil. And the evil people, they don't like those goody two shoe types. They are attracted to other evil people. And so by this self-selection, we are the final judge of whether we're going to heaven or hell. Heaven is being with all the cool people. Hell is being with all these assholes. That's that's what they taught Swedenborg. And that's part of what one of his teachings. It's neat stuff. It's really neat stuff.
No, it's really neat. I think he knew his lane. Okay, yeah, someone was coming back to it. Okay, because I remember I read something about the one that the spirits would fight for attention. So it was that one. Yeah, okay. It
That
was
one.
definitely that one. I was like, okay, that's very interesting. So we're the physical vessel that the spirits are fighting attention for. Okay. I mean, that was it. I
Yeah.
mean, it kind of I mean, it does feel that way. There's some sense to it. You feel more compelled to not compelled, but you feel the urge, I will say, to do good or do something bad. Like I want to just curse out jobless to make me feel stupid, for example. That's more
Right.
the shut up. How they make me feel bad about my own podcast. Nah, I don't nah. I'm pretty secured. Uh, but if I was me, I was, I like to do the bad ones. Those are more interesting. Believe it or not, I'm not gonna do the good ones. You know what the good ones are. They're boring people. Okay, I'm not gonna do that one. You should know what that one is. If you don't know what good is, God help you. Be kind, and say nice things and mean it. That's the key, mean it.
I mean it. I mean it. Yes, I know.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
something like that. Simple stuff, people. I know some of you don't wanna do that. You love to troll and to be contrarians just to get on people's nerves. Like, don't get me wrong, I have the
Mm.
urge to troll too. It's fun, I get it. But, you know, but sometimes you gotta be kind, just be serious, be an adult. As I know the millennials and Gen Z hate that word. They condemn that word like it's the devil itself.
Mm.
But that's part of life. I don't know if you wanna be a forever child. I mean, I'm happy I'm growing up because the stuff I see now is, "Oh, I'm happy I'm older now because the entertainment they got for kids are junk." So I'm happy I'm
No.
growing up on that one. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people wanna go back in time, it'll never be the same, people, no matter what. You can be 60 years old watching, I don't know, Looney Tunes. You may feel some similar happy feeling to it, but, you're older, you might think about the episode differently, you might think deeper about it, okay? Instead of just, "Ah, ha, 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 ha," you just whack the guy with a big old oversized hammer, that's ridiculous. I don't know how a skinny person could carry such a super large hammer just hit with it, okay? You might just say, "Oh, that doesn't make sense," or you might get more critical. It's not gonna be the same. We change too, people, we forget that sometimes, but I know I derailed a little bit based on cartoons or things like that.
I derail too. That's what I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, go ahead.
can I throw one more concept at you? So this book, this isn't the concept, but I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit later. Okay, every author thinks their book is great. I'm one of them. It's a great book. Okay, it's thick though, and so some people are daunted. It's like I don't want to read that. It's thick. It's 13 essays. You don't have to read them all in a week. You read one. Might take you a week to read one. It's fine. There's a lot of ideas in there, and people think about them, and they like some, they don't like some, whatever. Well, the I'd say half of the essays kind of point. I don't explicitly say it, especially like I'm going to in a minute, but they kind of point towards this one point, and that I wanted the reader to come up with on their own. If you come up with it on your own, it's yours. If I tell it to you, it's not. It's like, he thinks that, whatever. But if you come up with it, it's like, yeah, wow, look at that. I figured that out. That's what I tried to do here. But I'm gonna spoil it.
Well,
Okay. So
before you do, I wanna say
go ahead.
for the adults, the real adults here, figure it out. Get his dang book, okay?
Oh,
Push, get it, alright? He's not the most capitalistic person that I've met. He's borderline
no.
on the free, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, it's free. Yeah. That's the thing, it's free! Free, free! So, if you wanna
Yeah,
pay
okay.
a
So
damn thing except for your time, maybe your brains, you probably pay for your brain
okay.
cells, but, hey.
This is $26.99. That's not free if you want a real book, and I had someone who actually she bought an ebook. I
Oh.
think I used to have them at $6.99. Right now, they're $2.99. She bought an ebook, and she got back to me later and said, "You know what? I'm buying this book because I've been underlining so many things. I wanted a real book to underline it in." So, I mean, yeah. So, but yes, I also do have a free PDF on my website, and we can talk about that later. But I want to talk about this point,
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
that is
Yep.
okay. So there's a different way of looking at things. Here, let's start with a bee. So we look at a bee or a beehive as a collection of bees. A bee colony, I guess, is a better word. But there's another way of looking at a bee colony. Look at it as an animal in itself. You get close to it, what's it do? It'll attack you. What happens if you get close to like a mountain lion? It'll probably attack you, right? Oh, that's what beehives do, right? They all kind of act together. They work as one unit. They're, you know, they're, they will save things for the winter. They'll get all this honey together in the spring and the summer and the fall. And then in the winter, they live off the honey. In the wintertime, it gets cold. And so they're all beating their wings to make heat. You know, they are a creature. Let's think about so that's one thing. It's like, let's try another one. How about this one? My body or your body. They say it's like a trillion cells. You take one cell, let's say from my eyeball, what's it do? It looks at things, I guess. It doesn't know what it sees, it just looks at things. And you take a cell that's maybe on the heel of my foot. What's it do? Well, it keeps the inside in and the outside out. That's mostly what it does, I think. And it connects to all the other cells around them. Okay. They have totally different functions, right? Well, these trillion cells all have these different functions, but they together make up my body. And I am one creature. Okay. So we have the bees make up one creature, a beehive. My cells make up one creature. Oh, that's me. People make up one creature. Think of that one. That's called humanity. Okay. Now, the cells don't know what I'm talking about right now. They don't know that I'm getting hungry. Some of them know that, but most of them don't know that I'm going to go get a cheeseburger later. They don't know that. They don't know that I like cheeseburgers, right? They don't know that, maybe I want to run a race or something like that. They just know I connect to these other guys and we keep the inside in and the outside out. That's what the skin cells know, right? So just like we individuals don't understand what humanity, the creature, is up to. We don't know what it's doing. We have the history books, and you can look at history and you can see it's actually moved. It's moved. There has been progress in history. You know what? 2,000 years ago, there was a king or a bunch of kings, and we all just did whatever they said, right? We had no say. They wanted, it's tax time. What do? The soldiers come in, they rummage through all your stuff and take whatever they want. There's no recourse. They just take it, right? So slowly, throughout the centuries, we've developed, freedoms. It's like now all of a sudden we have representative government. Now we can vote. Now we can decide what we want to do for a living. We have time off now. We only work 8 hours a day or maybe less in the near future. And we get to screw around and do other things like watch sports or paint pictures or read books. That's incredible progress. So you look at humanity, that is the creature. So, okay. So if you think of, let's say pretend I'm running a marathon. I've never run one. I can't do it. But if I could, I was running a marathon and I have some cells on the bottom of my foot in the skin cells, and I'm running and my shoes don't fit right, and I'm starting to get a blister. My cells are getting pissed off. They're getting really pissed off. It's like we're getting squished. That guy won't stop. It's just, or they don't even know there's a guy. They're just thinking it's awful in here. It's hot. It's never hot like this. It's hot. I'm getting squished all the time. It never goes away. Usually we get time to rest. And And now we have this blister forming. And next thing you know, the blister rips off. And all these cells die. They're dead. And the runner is still running. And let's say he finishes the marathon. Let's say he comes in second place and he's happier than crap. I came in second place, the Boston Marathon. I'm so happy. It's like all these cells, they all carried around all the way to the end line. But these ones died, right? Well, that's just like humanity and history, okay? In that civilizations die. Peoples are wiped out. The Tibetans, what happened to Tibetan culture? It was beautiful. It's gone, right? What happened to the Jews in Poland? It was beautiful. It's gone. But humanity is still moving forward. And it's something that at the cell level, the cells don't understand this whole marathon deal, just like we don't understand tragedy when it happens. And these massive social, historical tragedies, they don't make any sense at our level. But at humanity's level, that's a different story. We don't even know where it's going. That's really fascinating to me. And that's how I see the world. And one part I forgot to say, but it works, is like, I'm going to die. You're going to die. 100 years from now, no one's going to remember either of us. This book, 100 years from now, they probably won't remember this. Your podcast, they probably won't remember that, right? Someone might have your name or mine written down on their genealogical table, but maybe not. Maybe your line will die out, And so we die, but humanity continues. It's like, just like all the cells in my body, they live, they die, the body continues. And there's not one cell here in my body that was there 20 years ago. Every one of them is new, and it's still me. It's a totally different way of looking at the world.
Yep. It is both amazing and pretty morbid at the same time, but it's still the truth.
See, that's the thing. Some people say that. So I gave a speech at Toastmasters, and the whole point of the speech was, look, you are not important. You are not important. You're going to die, and everybody's going to forget everything you ever did. It doesn't matter. But that's not morbid, and it's not depressing. What if you have this type of feeling, or at least this outlook? What does it mean? How do you live? Well, what it means is your job is to become the best at whatever. You find out what your skill is, your gifts from God, and become the best at it you can. Why? Because let's say I invent some rocket ship that goes to Mars. I do it instead of Elon. I did it. Guess what? Humanity is the better off for it. Or I made this great song, the best song of the year. Humanity will be singing this in 100 years. It made all of us better, right? Whatever achievements we can do, we are contributing to humanity. And the other thing we can do is we help others around us to become the best they can be. Once you understand that it's not about me, it's not about you, it's about us, then our whole focus in life can change, and it's towards becoming great and helping everyone else get great.
So correct.
That's what the book's about.
Right. No, you did say that. You did point that out in the readings. That I remember very clearly. So, okay. It's gonna take some time for me to grasp that, but I do get it. But yeah, it's not about me. It's do the best you can with limited time you have, right? Yeah.
Do the best you can. Become great. Become great.
And then, well, if you're a crappy person, well, that good news, we will forget about you.
No.
I mean,
No.
but
I do believe all of us can be great at
right.
something, and all of us can really contribute. To me, contribute, it means that everyone's better as a result of what you've done, right?
That's true. Yeah, not just do something great that benefits humanity, and humanity can move forward without our limited existence.
So your podcast may be doing. Now, I'm here. I'll get all grandiose. Look, I'm just a dude, right? I'm not some genius. None of that crap. Not a saint. Nothing. Just a guy who wrote a book. Okay, but let's pretend I was something special. And my message actually resonated with 10 people out there, and it changed their lives. Let's pretend that's what your podcast just did, and those 10 people changed their lives, and maybe people around them start changing their lives because they taught them this message. And then all of a sudden, 100 years from now or 1,000 years from now, everybody's thinking this way, right? I don't know. I don't know where it's going. I don't know. We can't know. But that's what I'm saying. So yes, you are creating a ripple. You are, I am, which is going to affect all the rest of us.
Yep, no, that's well said. Well said. My head is slowly wrapping around that. But so, hey, I'm just being honest, but you're right though. That's why it's slowly wrapping around it. It's uncomfortable, but that's like truths. Truths are uncomfortable. But hey, because let's be real. A lot of people are egotistical. You tell egomaniac that, it's just like, what? Yeah, I mean,
No.
let's just use. I'm gonna use big picture history for a second, right? We only know very few people out of vast time period.
Yes.
So how many people were forgotten? Oh, countless, countless.
Well, even the ones we remember are forgotten. No one knows what Caligula, what his favorite dish was, if he liked to laugh at jokes or sing songs. We don't know.
True, true, true. Yeah. So, like I said, he's right though. You could argue in the comment section if you want. That's your prerogative. But
Well, so
it is
the
true though. So I'm not gonna
the
argue. I
basis,
feel comfortable about it, but I'm not gonna argue because it's just truth. It's just objective truth.
the
Right.
the basis of all suffering, I believe, and maybe this one I could be wrong because you never should use the word all, but I'm going to try it, is selfishness. That's the basis of everything.
Mm.
Everything. From selfishness, you get greed, you get lust, you get shit. I'm thinking of the seven deadly sins. I can't think of them all now. But
I don't
everything
know.
comes from
Greed,
selfishness.
lust, sloth, laziness,
Sloth was the next one.
um,
Pride.
pride. Yeah,
Pride.
that's a big one.
It's all
Wrath,
selfishness.
anger.
Yes,
Yeah.
selfishness. And from all that is what causes other people to be unhappy. Is I can make other people unhappy by doing these seven deadly sins, any of them. That will make other people unhappy, right? And it's all selfishness. And I'm becoming more and more convinced that the real currency of let's say the future, it's all about love. And that's what the Christianity teaches. It teaches that. It's all about love. And love is this whole thing about helping each other along. We all help each other, and as a result, we're bringing humanity forward. Love is the currency.
Yep. All right. Well, listeners and viewers, I hope you just pay attention to that. I know the framing seems either jokey, maybe to some of you more, but I really hope that you really get the wisdom from it, people. That's how I want you to get at least something out of it, something value of this because this is really great stuff. Like I said, the only thing I did disservice to myself was to like speed research through 10 and 11. I should have reread those a little more slowly. I feel like I didn't understand those tools. But 8 and 9, I already had a great grasp on what was going on with those.
Yeah, those are the religion ones, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but I'm gonna eventually read the whole thing and hope and all I wanna say is I will try, and all I can say is try. I wanna get this guest back. Yeah, because we could definitely do more of this for sure.
Oh, that's for sure. I could talk forever.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
all I'm gonna say is I'm gonna start doing a wrap up because you already gave more than enough. I agree.
Okay.
And then, this is a great I think it's a great end right there. Love, people, love. I know some guys, "Oh, that's fruity, that's" yeah, whatever. But
It's trite. It's trite.
yeah.
Yes.
So,
Same old
yeah,
thing.
same old
Yep.
but people go to skepticapress.com. Go there, go support him,
Ah,
alright? Go right there, and I'm
okay.
gonna
So
spell that for you.
it's
Oh, you wanna say something?
yeah, it's spelled funny.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sure, it is spelled
And
SKEPTIAKASS.com.
that's one way. And the other way is just to type in John Bliss, and you could probably spell both of those. John has an H in it. John Bliss essays. Type those three in. You'll find the book everywhere, and you'll find the website. The website describes all the essays and what they're about, and you can also get a free PDF there if you're if you want to read it in a PDF, or it has links where you can go buy it on Amazon, or you could buy it right from their website as well.
Yep. But if you wanted to permeate more in your memory, definitely get the book version because all this digital
Yeah.
craziness will, it does mess with our memories. There's now scientific proof of that, which I already knew that, but science slowly catches up. Okay, let me stop acting like I'm a special thing. Love people I love. Okay, okay. Let me hold myself a bit. I'm a little bit opposite, as you can see. I'm a little fueled by ego, yeah, but I guess it's good in a way because you're kind of motivated, even though it's limited. But hey, something's better than nothing there. Just like organized religion, something is better than nothing there. But I think people should have an individualized spiritual experience. That's just my personal recommendation. I'm not a priest or anything. I don't got religious authority. Just gonna say that out there, but just yeah. But all services people just support them. This is a great. Essays are a great read, and they're not dull. They're not dull at all. They're really not dull. It's thought provoking, and that's why I actually love thought provoking stuff. Anything that challenges me, anything that expands my horizons, it's great. Not, Nicki Minaj shake her big ass 80 miles per hour. As it's good eye candy, but after a while, that's just okay, great. I know
There's
some of you
nothing
like
there.
that, but if you want to expand your mind, to think differently and destroy your little box. Yep, try that. It's a great read.
Or
Oh, go
or
ahead.
or just remember, you probably will die when you're in your 80s or 90s. You're gonna be on your deathbed, and you're gonna be thinking, "I wish I would have." Always keep that in mind. And if you had an idea now of what is most important, then you're a lot less likely to regret what you didn't do when you were old and dying. Okay? You've got one life, live it, but you got to know what to do.
Yep. Well said. Well said. So now this is a gutsy question. Anything else you want to add before I really wrap this up?
No, I think that's it. That's it.
All right. So my listeners and viewers, for the review, you can rate it Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you rate it with a 5-star, give one reason why this episode is great at least. And if it's 1 to 4 stars, how can this podcast improve? Okay, I don't need one reason. I don't need an empty compliment or insult. I will ignore both. Yes, even empty compliments. I know I'm good. Yes, I'm gonna be the eagle one here. Yeah, I'm gonna be the more bad level example here. And that was a joke, but no. But just give that because there's feedback I actually do take very seriously. I've improved lighting, I've improved quality, I've improved a bunch of stuff because of feedback. Feedback does matter, people. And one more thing, the most important part, I always have linked to some free materials I think is good for you to be more unbiased. Straight, you don't read, so just getting slanted news of the left, right, and the center. I always have those links to the bottom, especially the new paper. And I'll be having more. You can start seeing more all sides as well to check how is your source biased. Okay, and I'm kind of linked with them now, so it's a great source. I think you need to expand more, be a little more aggressive, but hey, something's better than nothing there, so at least it's doing good work right there. So now for the true finale, and you wish for this host to shut up at this point. Whenever you listen to this podcast, you have a blessed day, afternoon, or night.